that was done about like these homeless these homeless people. There was this guy that was like, hey, I could literally go give them $1 and feed them for a day, or I
Right.
could teach them how to fish so they have food for the rest of their life, right?
Sure.
And so what he did was he took $5 and he went down to a homeless person and he said, hey man, I want to show you how to make money, so you're not just begging for money. You can actually do something that will make you money. I could give you
Right.
$5, or I could show you how to turn this $5 into a job, you know? And so he said, yeah. So what he did, he took a couple different homeless people, and he took them down, to Walmart, and he bought a 24 pack of water for $5, and he got the guys out on the street selling them for $1 a bottle. And it's like,
Along
damn.
there.
If you just think about it, there's no need for anyone to do something that they don't love or work for someone else, but you can work for yourself in so many different capacities. If you think like that, if you think, oh well, man, I could just go buy a 24 pack of water and go sell it at a thing. You could buy a 50 pack or a 100 pack or 200 pack or whatever and go down to a baseball game and stand outside and sell them for $1. They'll sell through all of them.
That's the truth.
So it's really just how you think, man. I mean, that's what I learned that through a whole bunch of years of trial and error. I mean, it's all this, it's all the same thing. It's like, how do you build a brand? Well, you build a brand with trial and error,
Sure.
and trying to be ahead of the curve,
Absolutely. Whoa, good morning, good afternoon in some places of the world, good evening in some others. This is the Perception Podcast, Perception Therapy Podcast, number 5. Our guest today is going to be Macsen Apollo. Macsen, where are you joining us from today?
I am in Martinez, California right now, a little bit outside of Oakland. Right
on. I met Macsen about, I guess it would be 5 years ago now, since the start of Google+. Macsen at the time that I met him was simply a musician, I guess, is to put it into terrible terms, was just a musician at the time, when I met him anyway. And since then, this gentleman has come up in the world. He has started his own vodka label. It is called Elation. It is a hemp-flavored vodka made in Switzerland. Macsen, why don't you tell people a little bit about this? Because this is the whole reason I got you on here, man. What we were just talking about is why I didn't cut you off in the middle. This podcast is about changing the way we think, or at least recognizing the patterns of the way we change the way we think.
Yeah.
And a big thing that you've done, my friend, that makes me very proud of you is you've done something that a lot of people are just too scared to do, man. You stepped out on your own and you built something for yourself, man, something that's not around right now. I have seen a couple of imitations here and there, but none of them are as well produced as this, my friend. I've actually had 2 competitor tastings here in Puerto Rico, but yours blows them right out of the water.
Crazy. Did they taste like herb, or no? They tasted like vodka.
They tasted like vodka, which I can't stand ever since my days in the Air Force, man.
Yeah, so it's interesting because there is a couple other hemp vodkas, and they're distilled from hemp seed.
Okay.
Which is not what we are. I mean, we're not a hemp vodka. We're not. What we are is a vodka made from wheat and rye, water from the Swiss Alps, and then we grow 5,000 marijuana plants to flavor the vodka. So ours is a hemp flavored vodka, where all these others are just hemp vodka. They can say they're hemp vodka because they're distilled from hemp seed.
I see what you mean. Okay, so they're actually producing vodka from the actual hemp, whereas you're flavoring. Okay.
Yeah, they're producing it from hemp seed, and we're flavoring with hemp blossoms, buds.
I tell you, that's the major difference right there in the flavor, man. Yeah. It's right away. As soon as you taste it, I mean, I spat one of them out. The other one was just kind of like, all right, I'll swallow it because I don't want to be disgusting. But none of them like this one, man. You nailed it that time we met, and I was sampling it for the first time. You were like, man, you could drink it straight, and true to form, man. Yeah. Straight, I have drank it. straight up have enjoyed it. We've mixed it with all kinds of stuff. My favorite so far is the mango nectar.
I haven't
You
tried it
get
with
mango nectar at the grocery store. Oh man, throw some of that in there, just a dab, the color, good to go.
Yeah, man. My favorite right now is with cream soda.
Okay.
Cream soda and a splash of grape juice.
Great.
It tastes like Purple Kush, man.
Oh
It's
yeah.
freaking it's amazing, dude. It's just amazing.
Nice.
Uh, um, but yeah, no. So it's a very interesting. The story behind the vodka is my business partner in Switzerland. He had developed the product, and through a bunch of trial and error, went through a whole bunch of different strains, tried a whole bunch of different ways of producing the vodka, and it took him 14 years to develop and get it to where it's at right now.
Wow.
When I went, I was just a musician on tour, and my tour manager lived down the street from my from Patrick, my business partners. He has a store in Switzerland, and so he got this little small convenience store, and I didn't know him at the time. He was just somebody at the convenience store. I went there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I remember the day vividly. I was sick. I had a cold, and I had to go to Berlin the next day for a show, and I was worried about going to the show sick, and so I go into his store, and I was getting a pack of cigarettes, and he asked me where I was from, and I told him I was from Oakland, California. I'm out here on doing music, and he's like, "Oh, you must taste my vodka. You must taste my vodka." And I'm thinking, fuck, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm about to start drinking. This sucks, dude. And I'm sick. I'm like, fuck my life. And he runs back from the back of the store to the register, and he gives me a fifth of vodka and a can of iced tea. And the vodka had a big pot leaf on it, and it was called Chronic Vodka, and it was just, I was like, okay, what's this? And so I went back to my tour manager's house. I didn't try the vodka until I got back from Berlin. When I got back from Berlin, I took a drink of it, and I was like, what? Oh my God, it's amazing. It was phenomenal. I was like, we have to bring this to America. And so I went down to the store, and I was like, dude, your vodka is amazing, man. We have to bring it to America. We have to figure out a way to do it. I said, it would never work in the packaging that it's in. The government would have a heyday with it. It would, if the government would allow it, it would be one of those products like all those energy drinks that came out a few years ago. It was like a whole bunch of in and out, 100 racks energy drink and this, all these different energy drinks, when there's only really 3 big energy drinks, and really at the time there was only one, which was Red Bull, So I went back to my design team that I've worked with forever, that does all my album covers and all my music stuff. I brought in a lot of the people that I work with already in the music industry, and a lot of good friends came in and helped me, and we redesigned the bottle and renamed it, and named it Elation vodka, and I spent the 4 years that it took to get all the government approvals to be an importer, to be able to import the product, but then to have the formula approved from our government and have the label approved from the TTB. It's a very, very long process, and you can't pay them more money to speed it up or anything like that. It's government stuff, it takes however long it takes, and whatever,
Right.
And we went through a number of different labels before the label got approved. The formula, we had to send it to a bunch of to 2 different laboratories, one in Germany and one in America, to prove to the government that it had no THC and stuff in it, before they could test it in their laboratory.
Okay.
You can't send the government a bottle of drugs.
Sure. Yeah, no, I can imagine that would probably end up pretty bad.
So you got to make sure that there's no drugs in this alcohol. And so we got all the testing and all that stuff, and we sent it to them. And 4 years later, it got approved. And last June we launched in Florida. We entered a couple different spirit competitions last year. We
Hmm.
only last year we only entered two competitions. Uh,
Okay.
um, we entered the San Francisco World Spirit Competition and the 50 Best in New York, and we won a silver medal at San Francisco World Spirit Competition. We're very proud of, and then we won a gold medal in New York.
Nice.
Uh, um, yeah, so that was really cool. This year we're entering every single spirit competition. All the
We'll be
spirit
seeing you in
competitions.
Puerto Rico soon. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, if they have yeah, we might. We're going to enter every competition this year, so we're really going to go hard on that. We want to show people our proof of concept, and that we have a. I mean, right now we already have an award-winning product, but I'd like to
Sure.
show them that we have an award-winning product on a vast level,
Yeah.
throughout the world, because there's so many spirit competitions. Uh, in this industry, and we want to enter them all, and they should help with distribution and stuff like this. Be able to tell the distribution company, hey, we have 10, 15 medals, you know uh, uh, um, uh, and it's doing very well in the market that we launched, and it should help us with our distribution.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really good, man. If they don't have any spirits competitions in Puerto Rico, somebody messed up because let me tell you, these people, the one thing they take, the two things they take seriously is having a good time and drinking. They take
Yeah,
nothing else serious. They're like, yeah, whatever. Government doesn't have money. Who cares? The government needs to be a state. Whatever. We'll deal with that shit later.
yeah,
Where are we going to drink at 5, yo?
yeah. I've noticed a lot of the islands are like this, and I'm gonna start focusing a lot of my attention on the islands. If you know anybody in Puerto Rico that is a distribution company or importer,
Hmm.
please let me know. And we'll definitely get out there sooner than later.
Yeah, I'll make some connections for you, man.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, we're at the point right now. We wanted to get our proof of concept in Florida, and we wanted to work out all the kinks, because when anytime you jump into any business that you have
Right.
no idea about, you're really like you're jumping out of an airplane and you're building your parachute on the way down. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure.
And so that's what this business has really been a lot like for us right now is we're really we're building the parachute on the way down. I wanted to get out all the kinks before we started approaching other distribution companies, and we're at the point right now. Our kinks are worked out. We got everything. We can produce 200,000 bottles a day
Wow.
in Switzerland, so it's not a problem. We're ready for mass distribution.
Outstanding, man. I can't wait till I see this everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, I've had some friends asking me in Miami where to pick it up. I actually had a friend in New Jersey tell me I was crazy. He's an air traffic controller.
Uh-huh.
So he was like, dude, I'm not trying that. So what? So then they piss test me, and then I got a piss test hot. And I was like, listen, man,
Uh,
that I know of, there's no THC in it. And of course, this was back in September that I was
yeah.
telling him about it. I'm trying to get him a bottle up in New Jersey just so he can shut his mouth and enjoy it, because I know he will. The man loves vodka.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine anybody's going to love the taste of this. Whether or not you smoke, you're going to love the taste of this
And
vodka.
you're
I
guaranteed.
personally hate the taste of vodka, but this
Yeah.
doesn't taste like vodka at all. This is
No, I know.
delicious.
I was the same way, man. I was just I really enjoyed cognac, and I enjoyed scotch. I was a
Okay.
brown drinker, and when I got this, I hate vodka. But when I started this one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother field.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, but no, I mean, you're guaranteed to not fail your piss test drinking Elation vodka as long as you don't smoke weed.
No, he doesn't. He's an air traffic controller. He's been for many years, so he's always clean. He likes to drink, and I'm like, dude, you got to try this. He loves vodka, man. He wants
Yeah,
a
there's
lot of
no.
stories I can tell.
You would have no problem passing a piss test.
Awesome. Good news for him. Good news for you,
Yeah.
Andy. And we're gonna get him a bottle as soon as I can. Yeah, man. So the music career, man. What's new, man?
Well, I've been really focused just on the alcohol right now.
Okay.
Um, I definitely I'm definitely still a musician and inspired and all the time, and things come in my head, and I'm excited to do stuff. But I've been really just trying to stay focused on the vodka, and and uh, um and keep that going with as much momentum as I can. Um,
Right on.
I will be, I'm sure I will continue to make music. Uh, um, uh, uh, Once I get to a more comfortable place. But right now it's really about it's grind time. It's push, 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 push.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Yeah, I don't feel
so
like you've stopped moving since I saw you. When did I see you? I saw you right before I moved here, so that would have been July, maybe June when you were in Florida last.
yeah, yeah.
And
Um,
dude, it was tough to get up with you even then because it was like, where are you? He was like, well, where are you? Because we're on our way to somewhere, and then as soon as we're done there, we're on our way somewhere else. So let me know where
yeah,
you're at, and we'll catch you in between. And yeah, I mean, it was tough catching up to you, but man, that's the life of the Grussel, you know.
yeah, man.
That's what
And
it
it's
takes.
it really be. It's funny because I started. I'm like, hey man, I'm a man. I'm lonely. I'd like to have a woman, and stuff like this, and like a nice life partner, someone I can maybe have kids with or something. And I've so lately in the last few months, I've been doing the online dating type thing and seeing and whatever. But
How's that
I
going?
had my I had my first two dates last weekend. That
Okay.
I said, hey, you know what? I met some girls. They seem nice and all this, and they're great and everything. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot and go on a date with them. And so Saturday I had a date, and the girl, she was pretty in her pictures, and she was very intelligent, and all this, and I go out with her, and she was 10, 20, 30 pounds bigger than what she was in her pictures, and then she was very, very talkative chatterbox.
Mm.
And I'm just sitting there the whole time. I'm thinking, gosh, I could be working on my business, or doing something that this is like kind of a waste of my time because I'm not really vibing with this girl.
Mm.
And it's stuff. And then the same kind of thing happened on Sunday. Same type of situation. The girl was what she looked like. That was good. But she's on vacation, on a holiday from Poland or something, and that ain't gonna work either. And
Yeah,
it's just,
yeah,
what the reality is that I just don't have time to date right now. I'm working on a mission. You got to
yeah.
sacrifice a lot of things when you try to build a brand or try to do something great. There's a
Right.
lot of sacrifices, and relationships and stuff like that. That's one of them.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, they say that with great sacrifice, man, comes great reward, and
I sure hope so.
the truth of it is, man, is when you grind the way you're doing,
Yeah,
the truth of it is, man, is that a lot more women are attracted to that than what they currently have.
I guess so.
Which is a lot of stagnance. Um, you know, eh, some women aren't built for it, some women are. I'm not trying to generalize everybody in the same pool, but the fact is that what you're doing in your life is going to set you apart from everybody else.
But
And when the time is right, my friend,
yeah,
that right connection will be there, and
yeah.
there won't be anything else that needs to be said.
But for me, it's really tough right now too because I mean, the reality is Sunday. Uh,
Mm,
I live in California, and I do work with Switzerland.
mm,
It's 9 hours ahead. So
right.
literally, my Sunday is my Monday. The only real day I have off is Saturday.
Okay.
So like, what kind of girl wants to be with that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
hey,
I
so
hear you.
I can hang out with you on Saturday. That's about it. And usually Saturday is
Again,
my catching up on the weekday. It's like the day that
I
I
got
catch.
you.
I'm working 24/7.
Yeah, I hear you. Again, man, you're doing that now so that someday you won't have to, dude.
Yeah,
And
that's it.
and shit. There isn't a woman alive that's not attracted to a man that don't have to work, and she don't got to work too. So,
I mean,
you
the
know,
other thing too is that I mean, I do enjoy it. I do enjoy my work. you know,
That's good.
and so it's not like, you know, it's not too jacked up, you know.
Right.
I do enjoy my work, and I mean, it is a lot of it. You know, a lot of it is a constant party. You know, it's funny. I thought that leaving the hip hop, you know, not leaving the hip hop world, but or leaving the music world or anything, but
Right.
going to this other venture, I figured that I wouldn't be in the clubs as much. But I've been in more nightclubs and bars than a rapper on tour this year. You know, and last year. You know, so uh, um, it's funny. It's funny how all that works out. You know?
Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I had some my situation was a little different, man. I was single for the long run in my head, I was in the Air Force, did 4 years there.
Yeah.
Got out, and a week after I got out of the Air Force, I met my wife now, and that 180 happened real fast, dude. I don't know what did it. There's a lot of key components, I guess, that all play into a mix, but
You got a good wife.
yeah, dude, I ain't complaining. Believe
Yeah.
me, I'm
Yeah.
not complaining at all, man.
Yeah.
But it's that simple thing that it's interesting to see your perspective on that. You're in this grind right now, and that's something that's calling out to you a little bit, and that's cool, man. For some people that never calls.
Well, no,
And
you know, it's for me. It's always called. You know, it's always
yeah,
called out. You know, always wanted, you know, a life partner and stuff like that. But you know, the other thing is that for me, it's like, you know, I look at it like that. You know, and I'm looking for something specific, and I
right.
want, you know, I want to. I don't want to settle for something that I don't want. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then the other thing is too is that I realize that with my work and with the schedule that I have right now, it's truly not fair
Right.
to be dating. You know, I don't want to hurt nobody. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like that's the last thing I want to do
Sure.
is
Sure.
offend anybody or hurt anybody. You know. So
Yeah, man.
anyway, this ain't about dating.
It's about everything, man. It's about the way we look at things.
Yeah.
I looked at it different, and then I ended up in a situation that I would have never thought myself in. I got a 9-year-old, and she's great, man. Dude, don't get me wrong, it's fucking all great. But my 18-year-old self didn't see this. My
Yeah.
20-year-old self didn't see this.
Yeah.
It was like, nah, that dude's gonna be single forever. He's gonna enjoy it. And nah, man, you know what? I enjoy it a lot more now. To be honest with you. And a lot of dudes are like, stop being full of shit. You totally prefer the single life. No, I don't. I don't. You know why? Because I met so many shady people in my single life that I was so happy to run away from that shit, dude. I was
Right.
like, fuck that. I'm gone. That peace. Especially being around the military spousal situations. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
man. So much cutthroat shit going on over there, dude. Oh, man, I got so many military friends that got heartbreak stories that are just like, you hear their stories and like, man, I'm never getting married. And that was my view. Like, oh,
Well,
no, that's not for me. And then, you meet the right one, man. I don't know. I don't know what it is about that person. And, for some people, that right
I think
person doesn't stay the same,
yeah. I think you know my history though too. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you know, when I was 24, I lost my fiance, and so there was a
No.
time there was a time that I felt like I had someone that was going to be my life partner, and she had passed away,
Damn.
and yeah, and so that really kind of ripped my heart out and jaded me in a whole bunch of different areas, you know. But uh, um, you know, so life is a trip, man. I mean, you know, for me, you know, I never went to high school.
Hmm.
Uh, I did not go one day of high school in my life. Uh, um, my last grade was eighth grade. I'm very self-taught. I've always wanted to learn what I wanted to learn. I always beat
Right.
to my own drum, you know, and I always knew that I had to hustle to get there, you know,
Yeah.
and hard and have that core that's like, hey, when I'm tired, I'm gonna work even harder, you
Hmm.
know, and 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 uh, and so that's really kind of pushed me to where I'm at. You know, I see a lot of people that go to school and still have student loans and all this, and you
Guilty.
know, they get this degree. You know, a lot. Man, I know. So I met some people like the MBA. People that get their MBA, it's so hard for them. This is such a hard thing. They go out there, they spend all this time and all this money to get the MBA, and
Right.
they're left in debt. and then they're overqualified for so many jobs and underqualified for other jobs. I mean, it's just very hard for them to find a place in this world.
Yeah.
So you know, I
That's a huge problem in Puerto Rico right now, man. There's so many people. My former boss, he was my boss at the college that I worked for in Miami. He left Puerto Rico back in, I want to say it was 2006 or 2007, but he left for the same reason. He got his MBA in IT, and Puerto Rico could no longer afford to pay him higher than what he was currently being paid. So he said, you know what, I got to do what's best for my family. You know, at the time he had a son and a wife. Now he's got 2 sons, but, you know, he left to Miami. Now he's making the money he deserved to make. He's jumped up a couple times since, you know, we last worked together. And now he's, you know, he's comfortable as hell, man. He travels a lot, which, you know, he says it kind of sucks with his family and all that stuff. But he's like, dude, I provide for my family better than I ever have, better than I ever could have. And when I told him about my move, he was kind of like, are you sure? And it was like, you know, yeah, man, I'm sure, you know, because the only option here is either I stay in Miami and my family goes without me, which to me is not an option. You know what I mean? That wasn't even on the table for me as far as what my options were. And then, you know, the other option was, okay, go to Puerto Rico, you know, swallow your pride on the fact that now your wife handles all the finances in the house. You know what I mean? Because it was because of her job that we got here. And you know, what that's done for me now is now because of her and because of her support, you know, she's like, dude, find something you want to do. You know, she's seen me beat my head against the wall at fucking working jobs I haven't liked to work for the last 10 years. You know, and she's like, I don't want to, you know, not for nothing. It's been great, but I don't want to be married to that guy anymore who fucking hates his job, who hates hearing that email chime go off at midnight, who hates getting phone calls at 6 a.m. because something's wrong on a computer and nobody knows how to fix it but you. Yeah. She's like, you know, I'm not telling you to change career fields. I'm telling you to find something you love to do that doesn't annoy the fuck out of you.
And I suggest that everybody does that because, you know, really the reality is that freedom's all in your mind. You know,
absolutely.
We're all prisoners of our own mind, and we're the only ones that
can free ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we're the only ones that can free ourselves. That's the best thing to say. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of people have different limitations due to skin color and due to certain things because of how society has brainwashed everybody to think. Right. And that's unfortunate. But there's always a way, you know, and there's always a way to break the mold and to you know, do something that's incredible, or just to do something that makes you happy. You know, the key to happiness is doing things that make you happy. It's that simple, you know.
Yeah. And to understand that it's not a stagnant location. You know what I mean? You don't arrive to happiness and then unpack and, you know, put your stuff in the drawers and you know, this is where my shoes go and this is where my toaster go. You know, happiness is a moving location.
But you know, to also,
you got to constantly get yourself there.
Correct. And then there's a lot of ways to do that. And a lot of the ways is you got to think of other things. Like, for instance, you know, if someone steals your car or somebody does something like this, someone steals your car, perfect example. Someone steals your car and your immediate reaction is hopefully call the police, you know, make a police report. And then after that, you're angry and you're stressing yourself out. And the reality is that the way you react to anything is not going to change the outcome.
Correct.
It's not. So you could save yourself a whole lot of pain by just going, okay, you know, okay, this is what happened. How do I move forward? How, you know, period, and not stress about it. You know, and so this is another way to remain happy even in dark times. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you have obviously your history with you know, with your young lady, with your fiance that happened. I mean, there was that story brought me back to something I was listening a podcast to with I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. He had this guy on. He had this guy on. His name is Wim Hof. The guy's from the Netherlands. They call this dude the Iceman. He holds the world records for the longest swim in frozen water. Or I'm sorry, that sounds like ice, but ice on the top layer, water underneath. He swam, I think it was 100 meters with no oxygen, no mask, no snorkel, bare in Speedo, swam 100 meters. And the reason he swam 100 meters, get this, there was for him to come up and breathe and then keep going, right? Because the whole thing was to measure the distance that he could swim in the cold, not how long he could hold his breath. In one swim, he currently broke 3 records because what happened was he was swimming from 0 to 50 meters. He couldn't find the hole. So he swam back to 0, still couldn't find this hole, swam all the way over to 100, and then came up out of that hole.
Wow.
The dude swam 200 meters under frozen water without taking a breath. I don't know how long it took him because I didn't actually look up this record, but I mean, I'm listening to this podcast and this guy's talking. He's training MMA fighters now on perception. Mm-hmm. He has this breathing technique that he does where you inhale really deep and then exhale halfway. You do that for like 2-3 minutes, and then it's supposed to balance out your pH levels. This guy had a story about his wife dying of cancer. Mm. And, not to trivialize at all, but it's a simple, one apple to the other, the orange. The guy had his wife for, 30 years or whatever it was. She passed away all of a sudden. And to hear his perception on it, man, was like, yo, listen, I could have easily just broken down and been like, oh, why? For what? How's that going to help? She's still there. None of that helps. Breathe through it, man. When you breathe, you do something to your head with the serotonin in your head, something about the oxygen levels, and it's supposed to put you into a state where you can now function a lot better than you were currently. You know what I mean?
Well, and you notice
negativity. Go ahead.
Well, you notice it's the same thing. It's so funny. Everybody wants to be so close to nature, right? But they don't realize that the easy way to be close to nature is watch what animals do, right? Simple. You look at zebras. And when a lion attacks a zebra, and the zebra gets this boost of energy, adrenaline, and just charges through it and runs and runs and runs. But when it stops, it goes back into that calm state of being. It takes some breaths. It gets back into this thing. A lot of us, a lot of humans, have this turn-off switch. We don't know how to activate this turn-off switch. So we're just angry and we get fueled more, and the only turn-off switch is to go to sleep. But then you might wake up pissed off too, And so we have to learn how to turn this thing off, man. And I mean that's that. It's
Damn, that's the best way I've ever heard it put, man. You got to learn how to turn it off.
Yeah, you got to learn how to turn it off.
Everybody will tell you, oh, focus on the positive, focus on the positive. You know what? Positive thinking has been absolutely proven to help in certain situations. However, not one of those African kids that's starving right now is being fed because he's thinking he's going to get fed.
No.
You know what I mean?
But
for them, it's not about perception. For them, it's about, okay, how much have I had to eat today? I've had enough to eat to where I'm not going to die today. That's good enough.
Yeah. But how many?
And changing that perception is a big thing.
How many stories have you heard of people in Cuba that ain't eating right or ain't doing something, and they jump on a boat and they come to Florida? I mean, the thing is that, it always trips me out that there's so many borders and stuff like this in the world, because birds, they don't need a passport. They just fly, go wherever they want to go. And I think it's very, very good to travel. And it's very good to experience different cultures and open your mind. I've been to 14 countries, and I've seen what they call a quote unquote third world, and the people there are more happy than I've seen in the quote unquote first world.
Oh yeah, that first world problems, that's a real thing, man. When you focused on shit like that, that's exactly how you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel, oh man, I don't have it as good as somebody else. Oh, dude, they don't even think about it like that.
No, and so if you have a problem eating, or you have a problem, it's too cold where you live, move.
Get out of there. That's it.
Get out of there. Figure a way out. There is a way. You can move somewhere. Yeah. A lot of people talk about if Trump gets into office, or if Bernie gets into office, they're moving to Canada. Everybody's got one. It's either one or the other, right?
Right.
It's it's so funny is if you already see a problem and you don't like where you're at, and literally one person can change everything, man. You should probably move
Yeah.
right now. Why
The truth
wait?
of it is, yeah. You know why you should move? Because you're gonna fuck it up for the rest of us. That's why. That's the only reason you should really move. If you think that's gonna help, bon voyage, brother. I'll wave you off at the airport. I'll even help you unpack on the other side. That's, yeah, man. That's a very true thing, dude. One thing I want to mention to you. You said you've been in 14 countries. Is Kyrgyzstan one of them?
Yeah.
You
Kyrgyzstan?
been to Kyrgyzstan? Kyrgyzstan.
Never been.
Gotta get to Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan. Where is this? This sounds like it's the Middle East or something.
Kyrgyzstan. Yes, it's hang on, let me bring this up on the maps, dude, because this is this place is welcoming in a way that I've never understood before. Oh, spelling it wrong already. There it is. This culture is amazing, dude. They're mixed in, kind of Russian, kind of Arabic, kind of Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for this is because this country has been taken over so often, they don't even have a first language.
Wow.
That's how often it's been taken over.
Well, and that sounds scary to a lot of people. I think they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to go to a place that's going to be taken over."
It's very mob run, and that scares the shit out of the rest of the people who are already, not interested in going, or who might still not be intimidated, but once they figure out, oh, now the mob runs this place, like maybe it's not a place I want to go. However, I was there for 2 days in a military uniform for maybe 25 minutes of it, but in the rest of my time in my civilian clothes, and man, I was treated so nice here that I, when I told myself I was going to be single forever, I told myself that I would go back to this place.
You're like, if I'm single, I'm going back to Kyrgyzstan.
If I'm single and I have no responsibilities, meaning I didn't need to support anybody, you know what I mean? I didn't mean like in the womanizing kind of way. I meant like if I don't have any responsibility in the world and I only need to support my happiness, my habits, I'm going to Kyrgyzstan. These people are fucking nice as shit. Of course, now I've found Puerto Rico to be nice as shit just as much, and I'm just as happy here. Now I'm in the tropics, you know what I mean? Like, I was in the tropics in Miami, but the people in Miami, we had this conversation. I'm not crazy about those people.
Yeah, it's interesting.
There's something wrong with those people in Miami, dude. I don't know what it is. They're too, I used to say they were too close to the sun, but now I'm even closer, and the people here are different. My neighbor's like, hey, what do you like about Puerto Rico more than Miami? I'm like, you know what? Honestly, just the quality of the people here. They're warmer.
Well, I feel like a lot of people in Miami took the rap videos very literal. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got a big gold chain, breast implants, or driving a rented, BMW,
ridiculous, expensive car.
Yeah, ridiculous car, Bentley or whatever. It's an interesting place. Miami's definitely an interesting place.
There's not too many genuine people you're going to run into there, in my opinion. I mean, I have family there, so, I mean, I can't say that out too loud, but, aside from my close friends, man, there was just no desire to meet any new people there. You know what I mean? Like, I would get into a working structure, and it's like, all right, my coworkers and my family, that's pretty much all I've got. You know what I mean? Like, that was, I wanted to separate myself as much as I could from Miami society, as best as I could. Just, you guys are over there, and I'm over here watching you fucking clowns. That's the way I looked at it, like, nah, man, I'm good. And the coolest thing was my wife is she's very much not into that scene. You know what I mean? She likes to go out, she likes to drink, she likes to dance, she likes all that stuff, but she doesn't like the scene. So, once we removed ourselves from the scene, it was just like fucking completely different scenery, man.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I don't like hanging out with who we're hanging out with, so fuck it. I bought a canoe one year, and we started hitting the Everglades, and we started going canoeing every weekend in the Keys, and it was like, I don't deal with people from Miami anymore. Now I deal with people from the Keys. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, hey, I didn't like where I was at. I fucking got up. I drove 45 minutes south, and I met new people. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's it. That's the thing. You know, I was talking to my friend about this the other day. I was like, you know, one of our good friends is a R&B singer, and he's a dancer,
Okay.
right? And he's always had this beautiful, beautiful wife, beautiful girl. You know, it was first it was his girlfriend, and now it's his wife. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, you know, and it's like, if that's something that you want, then go start dancing. You know, you want to be with a dancer girl, go start dancing, bro. You know what I mean? Like, if you want a lawyer girl, start talking to lawyers. You know, and
Yeah.
just put yourself where you want to be, and go with it. You know, and this is a good thing to do in business too.
Yeah.
You know, where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do, or whatever? You know, it's they always say it's all about who you know. So get out and know people. So get out and know people.
Go shake hands.
Go shake some hands. You know. I mean, that's this. It's just, you know, jump a little. Don't be so scared. I mean, it's not that. It's, you know, it's more rewarding when you know, like I noticed that the days that I really crushed the day and I just did everything that I could possibly do, those are the most rewarding days for me. The days that I work the hardest are my most rewarding days to me, because I'm working for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just crushed that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The only boss you needed to impress is impressed.
You know what I mean? And so that's really, you know, that's really a simple thing that anyone can do and change your surroundings a lot, you know, and you know, you'll find what you're doing. Or, you know, sometimes if you just don't even know what you want to do, just start hanging out with different people. Go to a different place. Go to a golf club.
Yeah.
You know, who knows who you're gonna meet at a golf club, or
Definitely some rich people.
you know what I mean? Like, what are you trying to do?
Yeah.
You know, who are you really trying to hang out with? What's your thing? You know, it's funny. I heard Snoop Dogg say the other day, and he said it really well. He said, you know, it comes into life. You know, you always hear about closing the gap,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes to a point in life where you're right here, and your friends are right here, and then you start growing, you start building, right? And then what happens is that you still have all these friends, and you want to help them out, or whatever. You want them to be where you're at. So you come down. But when you come down, you're only losing. The gap has to be closing by them coming up to you. So a lot of the times you lose friends and family, and you lose a whole bunch of people during this closing the gap time. I'm on a different level. I'm thinking different. Now, I'm not above you or anything
Right.
like, but I'm thinking different, and this is where I've gone to be successful. I could give you my clothes. I could give you my things. I could tell you where the water is, but whether you're going to drink it or not, it's up to you. You know, and so you know, this is you know, one thing that you know, closing the gap, man. You can't always try to help everybody out. People got to help themselves. They got to close the gap if they want to be. If you want them to be on your level or whatever, come on, dog. If you want them to be on your level or whatever, then they need to come to you, man. They need to get up to that level. And there's going to be so many times that, you know, you talk to an old friend or whatever, and they're still on that old stuff, and you're like, man, I'm not even there right anymore. I'm not there. That's not where I'm at. You know, and you know, sometimes if you feel bad about it, but you can only do what you can do, you know?
Yeah. That's the truth, man.
Yeah.
You know, we all have our own goals, and to reach them we all have to set our own agenda, you know? And it does nobody any benefit to be checking up on other people's agenda. You know,
No.
You got to set your own. If that's what you want,
Focus on yourself.
schedule yourself.
Yeah, it's like, and the other thing too is that, you know, no one's coming to love you.
Nope.
That's your job. That's your job. You know, and when you love yourself and you're happy and content with yourself, everything else is a bonus. You know.
People see that, man, and it was funny because I didn't understand that until just, you know, a couple of years ago. That was one of those things that, I was always under the mentality of, people have this golden rule. You treat others how you want to be treated. Well, the way I was raised, I mean, we were taught that verbally, but what we saw was what I like to call the wooden rule, which is, I'm going to give you whatever you gave me. So you give me shit, I'm going to give you shit. You don't give me shit, I'm not going to give you shit. You come with me with pound, I'm going to give you pound. And we're going to be cool with whatever you set the bar at. But then, I kept wondering, like, man, I'm getting all these neutral spaces. I'm getting all these neutral or negative spaces because some people don't understand how to take neutrality. You know what I mean? Some people, you come to them with a straight face like I have, and you're just looking at them, dead in the eyes the way I've been always taught to look at everybody. I can give you a serious face without trying. You know what I mean? I'm just being mellow. I'm cool. But I looked at you, and you're like, I've been told I have a very intense look. It's so a couple of years ago, it was like, all right, what am I doing different, man? And that's what it was, man. It was the whole, I'm waiting for them to make the first move. So what I'm assuming they're feeling is my edginess. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really edginess. It was just kind of like, all right, new person. Tracking on the radar. No reaction. Neutral. On. And now it's kind of like, here they look at it a little different, actually, because I'm getting some weird reactions here with my smile, dude. I'm kind of, so I broke that a couple of years ago, and then it was started to be, oh, hey, how you doing? And now I break ice first, and now I break ice with, hey, what's up? And I always try to extend my hand, how you doing? Whatever. And I've met some interesting people all throughout the line. Google Plus helped that 5 years ago. That was a different transition, though, because, kind of like we met, it was cyberspace. You're over there, I'm over here. And my theory on that one is, you meet somebody in their comfort zone, as long as you don't come with bullshit, you're going to get a good reaction.
Yeah. There's a guy that that wrote a book. His name's Oren Clef. He wrote a book called Pitch Anything. It's very interesting. The reason why I like it so much is because it breaks down the science of the brain.
Okay.
And how and
what's this guy's name again?
Oren Clef.
Oren Clef.
Mm-hmm. Oren
Clef.
K-L-E-F.
K-L-E-F. All right. Look that one up later. Sorry, go ahead.
Now, Oren Clef, man, he's a brilliant guy. He studied about the science of the brain and how everything goes through filters, And there's a part of your brain that's like the croc brain, okay? This is the first place that anything has to go through, okay? If you're on one side of the street and I'm on the other side of the street and I say, and I'm like, Jay, right? Your first reaction is to look, and the first thing that comes to mind is this a threat? Is this is this something I can eat? Is this something I can fuck or whatever? Like that's right. That's the brain, the thing that goes, or is it a friend or something, And so it has to go through this filter first. And so anytime that you're presenting something to somebody or selling something to somebody or pitching something to somebody, that's the first thing that goes through their brain. They're automatically going to go, they're going to find a way to try to find a way to eat it. Mm-hmm. If they can't eat it, fuck it, piss on it, whatever, they're out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so this guy is very interesting. It's something I would definitely check out. It's definitely he talks a lot about framing, and framing conversations, and I'm not talking. Framing conversations and stuff like this, like ways to put things where it goes to the other parts of your brain, and where it goes to the thinking or the logical part of your brain. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, this could be a good deal. This could be something.
It teaches you how to trigger that in the other person you're talking to.
And all in the way you say it. The reality is that, for instance, I have the only hemp flavored vodka. If I'm trying to raise money for the hemp flavored vodka, there's a lot of money out there. People get money from ATM machines. Money gets paid for paychecks. Everyone has money. Why
Hmm.
is your money? Why is your money better than their money? Because there's a lot of money out there, but there's only one hemp flavored vodka. There's only one Macsen Apollo. There's only one hustler that hustles as hard as I hustle. You
Right.
know, and it has the product that I have. But there's 1,000 investors out there, millions of them. What makes your money better than anybody else's? See, so now they're like, oh, okay, whoa, wait a minute. You have something, and what I have isn't that important. I want to
Hmm.
get involved with you. Different way of thinking.
Yeah, man.
You got to value yourself. You
Yeah.
know?
Before anybody else is gonna realize that there's value there, That's,
Yeah,
and then you got to present it in the right way,
yeah,
because
yeah.
that's another thing. Like we were talking about earlier, is society's view of things is very okay. This is good. This is not good. And my daughter was looking at old pictures of my father, and now he rocks a goatee. But back in his, I mean, he's still a professional. Don't get me wrong, but he works in the banking industry.
Uh-huh.
For the longest time, he didn't. He was clean shaven since I can remember, since I was a kid. And so one day I had a conversation with him. I've always rocked a beard since I've been able to grow one. So, it's just mostly it's a thing of laziness, and then the other thing is I just don't feel right without my beard. I don't know. Something about a beard that's supposed to be on your face. It's supposed to be neat at some point, but whatever. That's secondary. It's supposed to be there is first.
It wouldn't grow there, right?
Huh?
It said it's needed for something, or it wouldn't grow there, right?
Exactly. So, it was a conversation me and him had about professionalism and how professionals don't view people with beards as professionals. And especially, he came up in corporate banking in New York. So there's a lot of, just look at the scenario now. You know what I mean? There's not too many Hispanics. There's not a lot of blacks that are in charge in these institutions.
Yeah, depending on what country you go to.
Yeah. So, his viewpoint, and I'm talking I'm 32 now, man, maybe this was when I was 12, so we're talking maybe 20 years ago as a time gap of thinking back in those days was, Hispanic men with beards, criminals right away.
Yeah, right.
Especially coming out of New York, coming out of Queens,
nowadays, everybody, if you have a beard, if you have this is a funny thing because the beard got all crazed and everybody wants to get it. And it makes me think of is there a second agenda? Because we were just taught 2 years ago that people with beards are Muslims and they're terrorists. And now beards are popular. I'm confused here. But I guess everybody always wants to be a gangster, but nobody wants to be a gangster. You know what I mean? It's everything's cool until shit goes down. Until it gets. Everybody wants to be a gangster until it gets real.
Everyone wants to be the warden until the riot starts.
Yeah, right.
Then, oh fuck! Who wants to be the warden?
Right.
Who wants to take over? These motherfuckers are getting crazy in here. Yeah,
so,
man.
That's
the way to look at it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But it's we live in an interesting time, and it's only changing. As I talk to the younger generation, and I see what's the newest social media and what's the newest this and what is the vibe, and I'm learning that everything's shifting very fastly. Instagram and Twitter and companies like this are not capturing that young audience, as well as companies like Snapchat and Vine and all these different Pinterest. Who would have thought that? Pinterest is one of the top social networks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I just looked at the list today, and I was like, who is this company? Who is that company? And then all the way down at the bottom was a company that I recognized. I was like, whoa, this just shows you.
Yeah, things move insanely fast today.
You need to be up on that, and you need to pay attention to what the younger generation is doing. You know,
They're the purchasing ones.
yeah. I mean,
They're the ones buying.
well, not even just that. It's you know, it's so funny because I heard this old term a long time ago. I don't remember who said it, but you know, we don't own this land. We borrow it from our children. So if you want to know what's going on with this land, man, you need to pay attention to what the children are doing, and and the younger generation. You know, I mean, I'm 35 now. You know, what I like and what a 21-year-old or a 22-year-old likes is totally different.
Completely.
And you know, I'm only going to get older, and there's only going to be another 22-year-old, and you know, and they're going to like different stuff. And from what I heard, a lot of the younger generation, they just don't care anymore. You know, and in the United States at least.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you know, they put a lot of value on what they're shown, man. And I guess that was, you know, I've spoken about it a couple of times, but this is the main focus of the podcast. Is I've got a 9-year-old, I've got nieces and nephews now in the world. We don't have time with our elders the way we were supposed to. You know what I mean? The way we had it back, like when I was a kid. I remember all my aunts and uncles being around. We didn't live in the same house, but we were around we were around often enough and long enough to learn things from other people who were older than us, who had experienced it. And if you were wise enough to pay attention to their fuck-ups, you didn't make them.
But we live in a different world. I mean, and we live in the same world. You got to think, man.
Yeah,
the fish was meant to swim in the water.
Yep.
But then one day it crawled out with legs. Evolution, man. You know what I mean? This type of stuff happens.
Right.
You know, and it happens with the mind, and it happens with the younger generation and the younger generation behind them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all that stuff. It really it's real. It happens. You see it. I mean, an old person. You know, I mean, we're the new old people. Me and you.
Oh yeah.
When you sit around at a Thanksgiving dinner and you realize all the children are outside playing, and there's one group of people that are smoking and another group of people that are inside, you know, drinking wine or whatever, you realize that, okay, well, we are the new old people.
Yep.
You know, and the good thing is that the older generation in our time, I mean, if you look at if history does repeat itself, well, the older generation is always the one that's in charge, you know, and that can change a lot of things. The younger generation changes a lot too, but you know, definitely, most definitely. But you know, you don't see too many 18-year-old presidents. You know what I mean? And someone that's really in charge. You know, so the good thing is that, you know, hey, now it's our time. You know,
right.
And it's our time to make some good stuff. Let's make some good stuff, and let's think about. Let's keep in mind that there's children after us, that we have kids, and they're gonna have grandkids, and we want to leave them something. We don't want to take up all the resources, blow up a whole entire mountain to get some gold, and then these kids don't have a mountain to play on. Forget the gold that's in the mountain, you know, and let them have some ski area like we did when we were a kid. We could ski down this mountain. Now you can't ski down it because they blew it up and mined it for gold that got turned into some plastic shit that's now gone.
iPhone. Yeah, man, I'm part of that problem right there.
Yeah.
You know, every year, new fucking device, new minerals, new materials that I'll take to make it. You know, so
yeah.
What
can we do? More self-conscious, man. You know, and if we can do something like, you know, there's a guy, there's this documentary I love, dude. It's called A Billion and Change. This is what I want to do.
A billion and change. Okay.
I want to do what this guy does, man, because he is phenomenal. He's a good dude. He invented 5-hour energy drink. Okay. I'm not an energy drink person. In fact, I hate energy drinks. I think they're drugs.
Right.
But this guy made a natural, some natural, whatever. It might not be natural. I don't know. But they say it's something natural or whatever. I don't care. I wouldn't drink it. I'm not an energy drink dude.
Right.
But what he's done with money, man. He turned this 5-hour energy drink into $1 billion company, and now it's $1 billion. So he's like, hey, hey man, what's 2% of $1 billion? A lot of money, more than he ever needs his whole life. So he's donating like 98% of his money into research, into things that can actually change the world. He got a warehouse that he turned into a invention factory. Now, if you got a cool idea and it's cool, he's not interested. If it doesn't change the world, he's not interested in it. He's not in this to be cool. He's in it to change the world. And so what he's doing is he's got this factory, and they made this machine right now that you can take ocean water and turn it into drinkable water, into good drinking water within minutes. And so what he wants to do is he wants to take a whole bunch of these machines, put them on a barge, a bunch of different barges, in all these areas that we have that are
water deficient.
Yep, and don't have any water and have droughts, major droughts. He wants to go out to the ocean, have pipes to go in and pump water on land, fill up your lakes, fill up your ponds, get some fish out there, have some life start growing again. That's something that's positive and can change the world. And he
Dude,
also
not for nothing. Look at the other advantage of that. They're talking about rising sea levels all over the world, right? Would this not be a huge benefactor into that? You know what I mean? Like we can mitigate some of that by taking the ocean water and using it for good. Yep. Throw the salt right back in.
It fixes so many problems. I mean, the fact of the matter is, when the water comes out of the sky, man, it's not salt water, and it's and the majority of the world's water. So yeah, we're only filling up this water pond more and more and more and more and more, and all the drinking good water is gone. It's leaving. It's depleting.
Yeah.
And so the only way to put it back is to put it back.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have some actual cycles of some real cycles of stuff. I mean, you take a desert and you put a bunch of ponds out there and a whole bunch of waters and stuff. You're going to probably start raining in the desert.
Yeah, humidity. Yeah, all that stuff has a part to do with it.
It's going to change some stuff. And so he did that. He's done that, and he's working on that. And he also made a machine, a bicycle, a workout bike that you wake up in the morning, you ride your workout bike for an hour, and it charges your house for 24 hours. So every morning you just wake up and do your workout, and your house has power for 24 hours, free electricity.
Get the fuck out of here. Damn, I haven't heard of that yet. That's crazy.
Well, just think about it. Think about the possibilities of that too. This is big.
Sure. You can turn that into any exercise equipment.
Well, and now think about this. So now every single gym, right, is now a power plant.
Of the world.
Is a power plant. Hey, it's $29.99 to join our gym. We have a spin class. People on their bicycles doing a spin class for an hour. You have 10, 20 people in the spin class. You just powered 20 homes for 20. Yeah. I mean, this could turn into a major business.
No, absolutely. And I mean, look at that whole nuclear catastrophe that happened in Japan that they're still trying to clean up.
Man, I mean, and this happens all over the world.
I mean,
this happens all over the world. In Switzerland, it blows my mind. In Switzerland, they have like the Straight Simpsons. You see the big old power plant with
the nuclear tubes coming out of it. Damn.
They got one of those. They got one of those in Switzerland, right by by Patrick's, my business partner's shop. I mean, you can see it from there. I mean, it's big. I mean, it's a big. Damn. Bigger than any castle.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? And so.
When you can see things like that better than landmarks and mountains like we were talking about, man, this is, it's getting fucked up, man. And when we can do things like what that, guy's doing with the whole bike situation where it's recycling the power, man, that's incredible.
Well, honestly, I think that Switzerland's really forward thinking. So I wouldn't be surprised within the next 10 years or something. I mean, they're one of the countries that are banned on GMO. Mm-hmm. They banned it. There's no genetically modified nothing in Switzerland. You can't get it in any, if it's on an ingredient on a package of food, they won't take it. They won't take it. They're not interested. They won't grow it. They won't this. They have a ban on Monsanto's or whatever. Uh,
Hmm.
um, and um, they've been like that forever. And almost everything that they grow out there is bio-organic or organic. I mean, it's really, really good quality stuff.
Sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if they, within the next few years, get rid of their power plant and start doing something that's more efficient. But I don't know. You know, some of them are, a lot of them are bankers. They do definitely capitalize on some other stuff. Every country has its little bad, you know. Uh, uh, um, you know.
Yeah, that's the way of it. You know,
Yeah, there's a lot
there's
of
got to
greed
be
in the
done.
world, man.
Always
Lot of greed.
got to be done. That's an unfortunate part.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know what I've noticed? That's a big thing here too, man. I don't know about GMO so much, but definitely I've noticed. I walk around the stores, dude. Everything here says no high fructose corn syrup, and you can get all the same shit.
That's great.
They still have Coke here. They still have everything else that they have in the mainland, but
Oh
no
yeah.
high fructose corn syrup on any of it. You know,
And isn't it amazing that it tastes so much different?
it's completely better.
You know, it's so crazy to me
Better.
because
You don't get that crash. You don't get that crash afterwards. Like fucking.
I was thinking when we were kids, right? You know, it was
Mhm.
like don't eat a whole bunch of candy because it will give you cavities. Nowadays, it's like don't eat a whole bunch of candy because it will give you cancer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
Terrible.
so these younger generation, they got a whole bunch of different stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
They got a whole different world, man, and like literally, this is what we're leaving them with. You know,
Yeah.
and so it's very important that we realize that we're just borrowing the land from them. We don't own it, and they're just
Right.
borrowing it from their children. They don't own it.
Yep.
You know, so let's try
Got
to
to leave
keep
it
the
to
world
somebody.
a good place and try to hopefully get it into a better place. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I mean, why not? I would love to leave this world a better place than I left it. Isn't that just polite? You know, you
Yeah.
rent someone's house or something and you stay in their house, you want to leave it a little bit better than you left it. That's the polite thing to do.
Mhm.
You know? If someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone says, you
Yeah.
stay,
Absolutely.
every time I stay at my friend's house, you know, I always try to, you know, clean the dishes or do something, leave it a little bit better than it was when I got there.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, my mission in that one is, you know, for Puerto Rico, man. Before I leave Puerto Rico, I want to say that there's going to be a lacrosse team here. For some people, they say, "Oh, well, you know what the fuck? You're going to take a sport to Puerto Rico that they don't play, that they don't care about." You know what, man? It's not about bringing a sport here. On top of everything else, the fun that these kids are going to have with this sport. On top of that, the revenues for this sport, if they do things correctly, can go through the fucking roof, man. Can go through the
Well,
fucking roof.
I think that I mean, do they play soccer in Puerto Rico?
They do play soccer, they play baseball, and they box. Oh, and basketball, which is huge here. Dude, they have some of the poorest neighborhoods not too far from here. Every neighborhood in Puerto Rico has a brand new sheltered, and what I mean by shelter is it's roofed by either concrete or steel enclosure with a basketball uh, uh, court set up inside of it. The baseball
Awesome.
fields here are maintained better than the fucking schools are.
Hmm.
It's fucking crazy. They put a lot of dedication into their sport here. Why couldn't they adopt a new sport that's actually been played by Native Americans, which is, you know, what Puerto Rico is based off of?
I would think personally that lacrosse would probably be a big sport out there. But I mean, I don't know.
I think
I think any country that plays soccer, they would
so.
love to play lacrosse. You know,
I think so.
I think
You
so
know,
too.
and
I think
especially the baseball players, man, with that hand-eye coordination with the stick. I mean, they're
yeah,
just going to be naturals at it. You know, and I hooked up with some guys that I met on Facebook, and this dude found me by looking up. I looked up the same page he looked up, which was Puerto Rico lacrosse.
mm-hmm.
There's been no activity on this page for fucking 8 years, right? So I post when I moved here, listen, trying to get a team started up, don't know how much the success has been. I don't really care how well the success has been. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give up just because they tell me, oh, you're not going to be able to do it. We tried before and we didn't succeed. That doesn't interest me, brother. You know why?
No,
Because you didn't try it the way I tried it.
well, not even just that. Is
And
it?
you don't have the drive I drive. So it's apples and oranges when you're comparing. Oh well, we tried this before and it didn't work. So
And then
what?
the other thing you got to keep in mind too is evolution. People want to
Evolution.
do new shit.
They're waiting
You know
for
what I
a
mean?
new thing. Yep.
So yeah, so it didn't work 10 years ago. That's because 10 years ago they wasn't ready for it, man.
Nope.
You was trying to push some. You were trying to take a fish with no legs and throw it out on the land and expect it to crawl. It ain't gonna do that.
Yeah. Nope. It takes time, man. You know.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing
so
to that.
this guy, he's getting out of the Army Reserves. He played in college. He's got a couple partners. We got a conference call set up for tomorrow. But they're very serious about bringing this shit to Puerto Rico. The ideas that they have already are extremely solid, man. They're, you know, the game plan that I've heard already is like, dude, I could not be on board. You know what I mean? It was already my mission. Now I've linked up with other guys who have the same mission, and it's like, okay, between all of us, we can knock this out. There's plenty of lacrosse to go around, plenty of the island, and the beauty of it, from what I'm hearing from these guys, is that where they're planning on moving to, we're going to be pretty much spread out across the island, which means what? We can set up different club teams to compete against each other. You know, and then you go from there, and then you take it to an international level. Kenya, for crying out loud, has a lacrosse team. Uganda has a lacrosse team. Jamaica just started a lacrosse team. China has a lacrosse team. Ireland has a lacrosse team. You know what I mean? Like, it's growing at a rate that
I think
there's not another sport right now growing in that speed.
I think Puerto Rico might have some different challenges or different things, you know, because it was their own country at one time.
Yeah.
And then America's come in, right? I mean, it's an American country now. Is it?
It's still, yeah. It's an American territory. And the dude who raped this country.
Is that like Guam? Like it's like Guam? It's
kind of, yeah.
So, you know, to me, that's,
yeah, you don't need a passport to come here.
You don't need a passport to come here. All this, it's basically, but they have their own culture, right?
Yeah, you know, they have their own culture dating back to the Taino Indians and to the I'm sorry, I forget the Borinquen culture. There's also another Native American culture that was here, and you know what I mean? They have their culture, man. They're very proud about their culture, and I'm not trying to fuck that up. I'm trying to add something that I think is already in their culture that they maybe have forgotten. You know
I don't not that at all. You know, so my point is all of this is that you just said exactly what I was saying. Is you just called them Native Americans.
Right, and that's a terrible term. Terrible term.
As if their country is American. Right. And that's my whole point. Is it that's the challenge with Puerto Rico. Is that we cannot forget that they are their own people, and they had their own. They're not American. We put that label on them. Right. You know? And we adopted their country, just like the Guam people. These Guam people don't look like Americans. They look like somebody from another country. Right. Same thing with the Puerto Ricans. They don't look like Americans. You know, they look like people from Puerto Rico or people from a Latin country. You know, and we can't take away their culture,
their identity. Absolutely.
It's like Peru. You know, the first time I went to Peru, I go there and I'm just like, okay, wow, okay, this is cool. And I met some Incas, and I seen their culture and how the Incas believed in so many different gods. They had the wind god, the sun god, the earth god, the this god, the that god. And now their traditions have completely changed because the Spaniards came in there and they colonized it. And they took away their culture. Now they're all Catholic. You know, now, back in the day, you used to climb this mountain. If you wanted to become a man, there was a certain time of year that everybody would meet in this valley. All of these different villages would come meet in this valley. And you would, and the young boys, they would have a big festival. And these young boys that wanted to become men would climb this mountain all the way to the top. And when they get to the top, they would grab a piece of ice glacier and they would walk it down all the way down to the bottom and they'd carry this ice glacier down. And when they came down to the bottom of this ice glacier, they would become men. Now,
And it doesn't melt by the time it gets down to the bottom?
no. This is the thing. Is that you would protect this, and you would carry this glacier down. You would come down with the ice, with a big chunk of ice.
Sure.
A chunk, you know.
Damn.
And you would come down, and you would become that. Now you're the man. You provided some water. You provided something. You went all the way up to this top, this hard place, and you brought something down that's special. You know.
You overcame.
And now they all meet in the same valley. And the young boys climb to the top of the mountain. And at the top of the mountain, there's a priest. And he spanks you on the bottom, and you slide down the mountain, and you're a man. This is the Catholic religion. You know, and they changed it. This is now the Inca tradition, which is not that was not the tradition they started with.
So is this are these all the priests that they're sending from the United States with the charges, or because that sounds a little suspect, man? Who convinced them of that? They bought that?
This is the thing. I mean, this is it. I mean, I don't mean nothing towards anybody's religion or Catholics or anything and whatever. But my point of the whole conversation is that the reality is that cultures have changed, and we can't forget about the culture that they started with, and we should pay homage to that.
Absolutely.
You know, and the fact that the Spaniards came in to Peru, and they dominated, and they took the country over, and they made it theirs, and now when they have parades in the streets of Peru, it's a bunch of it's a bunch of crosses and a coffin they carry, and then people play horns and stuff, but it's all very Jesus orientated and very Catholic, you know, and it's not paying homage to all of the Inca gods that they had before, or you know, whatever. Religion's a very interesting thing, I think, for a lot of people. It's definitely, you can see that it's designed in a lot of ways to divide people and to keep people in control of not losing control, you know.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
In control of not losing their control. Yeah, I mean that's a big perception that's changed mine since I was a kid, man. It was a religion, you know. I mean, I was raised by Catholics.
Me too.
They are still very Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think Bill Burr had the best skit on it, man, which is, you know,
Bill Maher?
No, Bill Burr.
Bill Burr. Who's Bill Burr?
He's the redheaded guy from Breaking Bad. If you were watching Breaking Bad, he plays Kuvi, I think was his name.
Man, you know,
that's one too hard, man. That's a good thing. That's a good problem to have. That's a good problem to have. He's a comedian. He's done a couple skits on TV. He's got a Netflix special up now that's animated, but he's got a great comedy special skit where he's talking about, you know, I just kind of let it go, man, you know. And so he's doing his thing with the microphone, and he's playing the priest. He's like, oh, and on the third day, he just backs out and lets it go. He just walks away like, yeah, you know, I didn't read the riot act or anything. You know, I just walked away. And that's kind of really what I did, man. And when I started in the military, you know, they ask you, you know, what's your preference? You know, what's your religious preference? And I chose, I think it's NRA, non-religious affiliation, or no affiliation or something. It's not just NA, it's something else. But you know, I chose that I had no affiliation to any religion. And then in basic training, once a week, they give you.
It actually probably is NRA.
It might be. I think it is NRA. It's no religion affiliation. Yeah, no religious affiliation. It wouldn't have popped out if it wasn't halfway there. It's at least. I think it is NRA. I have my dog tags around here somewhere.
NRA, we're cool with you.
Yeah, right. You show up there. Hey. No, but you know, in basic training, they give you your whole. You know, they give you your time for religious reflection. You know, and so when it came down time for it, my first week. Say again?
I said that's a respectful thing to do.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so. I don't think they give it to you until the second week, but regardless, they gave it to you. And so when it came time for it, they were like, well, you're not a religious affiliated, what do you want to attend? And I was like, well, I don't want to go to mass. What are the options? And so they read a couple out, and I was like, you know what, I'll take the Buddhist one, man. And so in high school, my sisters, they used to fuck with me a lot. I used to meditate, in health class, they taught us to meditate once. And the one time they taught us, it actually worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I completely, that whole out-of-body experience, I had that the first time.
I hear this with a lot of entrepreneurs anyway.
Yeah.
I hear it from a lot of entrepreneurs. They say the same thing, and meditation is for a lot of the Americans and the hard, and the men, the men and this and that. It's very hard for them to meditate because it sounds like
pussy shit.
Yeah, it sounds like some goofy fairy dust shit,
Nah, not at all, man.
And the reality is that I hear tons of entrepreneurs talk about this all the time, and there's so much noise in the world. To be able to do this does so much. And in fact, I saw a study with Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons did a meditation study. It was great, man. He went to a college, and they did a study with one class, one particular class in one college, and then they did it in other colleges, and seeing the example, what's the difference. And so every day when these kids would come to class, before they would do anything, they would have them meditate for 15 minutes. This class,
how old are these kids?
I forget, man. I feel like they were college kids, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But the study showed that the class that meditated 15 minutes before they started working, doing the same exact program as this other place, had much higher scores. They dominated, and it was because they got a moment of clarity, and they calmed themselves down, and when they started their lesson, they could absorb it all. And so these people did that was the thing, is that they did 15 minutes before they came to class. They did the same. So, hey, man, I think that meditation is a cool thing. And it's tough because we feel like, oh, man, for me especially, I have problems right now finding time.
Find the time. Right.
You have to make the time because you'll be more successful.
Yeah, you really do, man.
Because, hey, man, I mean, the studies show you'll be more successful if you do, and if you make the time. It's just like, if you own a company and you need equipment, right, to run this company, and you have some equipment from 1980, right, you have to work harder to run this equipment.
Absolutely. To maintain it.
Spend the money to buy the new equipment, you'll have to work much less. The reality is that the amount of money that you will generate by having the new equipment versus having the old equipment, well, the old equipment, I mean, you're going to pay for your new equipment by having the new equipment 10 times fold. I mean, you could only make, with your old equipment, you could only make $1 million a year. With your new equipment, you can make $5 million a year. The new equipment costs $2 million. I mean, come on.
Came out 3 ahead.
Upgrade.
Yeah.
Upgrade. Put it on swipe the card. Charge it to the game. You gotta work on that. And so efficiency is important.
Absolutely, man. That's cool, man, dude. An hour and a half we banged out on this thing, man. And this is a good conversation, man. I hope a lot of people tune into this. This is for your own good, people. It's not only for mine. It's for all of us. Get yourself out of the funk that you think you're in, because that's exactly what it is, man. You think you're in a funk, and that's exactly where you started off at.
We're all prisoners in our own mind. It's all about perception. It really is. It's all about perception.
Set yourselves free. Be well. Be well to each other. If you don't like where you're at, change what you're doing or change how you think about it, my friends. Until next time,
Yeah,
tune in, I believe, Wednesday. I'm going to have my little sister on, Tiffany. She'll have some things to say. She's a recent photographer in the game in Miami, killing it out there. She's doing a lot of great things, moving to Colorado soon to hopefully take on some entrepreneurship there, and I'm wishing her all the best. We'll have that conversation for you guys Wednesday. Again, this was Macsen Apollo joining us from California, entrepreneur, musician, Elation, vodka, producer, creator, importer, connection. Get with this man if you want to try this. This is the best alcohol. I don't promote alcohol, but this is the best thing you will drink if you are a fan of alcohol. All right? Enjoy. Oh, there we go. We got Macsen's bottle.
I appreciate
His actually
you.
still has some left.
I still got some in my bottle. I seen yours is kind of dusty, man. We'll have to change that.
Mine is completely empty, and I've been recycling mine to collect river water from my garden.
From here, yeah, I was gonna say from here the glass looks stained. I'm like, man, you gotta get him.
Yeah. It's foggy. It's beat up. Some of my Elation is falling off here. It's a little rough, man. This bottle's been through it.
Here it is.
This thing doesn't break, dude.
No, man, this is a good bottle. Hey, man, I
really dropped it on the rocks at the river.
Are you
Came out fine.
Amazing.
Yeah, bounced right off. Bounced off of maybe 2 or 3, but
I mean, I've had
picked it up, filled it up, brought it back to the house.
You know, I mean, that makes me think, oh my gosh, man, because I've had, you know, when you ship stuff from overseas, you know, when you get your stuff over here, man, hey, man, some stuff doesn't make it, you know.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple bottles that had cracks, and I'm like, how did this even break? You know, and it's got like a leak, you know, and I'm like, okay, so, you know, we lose some product every once in a while, you know, but to hear that you dropped it on a rock and it didn't do anything, I'm like, gosh, what are these guys doing when they're shipping my product?
I was for sure it was going to smash right there, because I actually broke a large Bacardi bottle, the gallons, in the same exact fashion. I mean, it wasn't the same day, but it was the same exact way that I dropped it. It smashed off the rock, and that one shattered.
Oh, yeah, gone.
But this one was tough, man. But my brother, good seeing you. And we'll do this again, man. Good luck to you in your ventures.
Thank you.
Be good, everybody.